So in today's video, we're going to talk about specific vestibular conditions. Vestibular conditions affect the vestibular nerves in the side of the head and the rest of the vestibular system, which helps us maintain balance and spatial awareness. And so a lot of the terms regarding vestibular conditions get interchanged, are used interchangeably, and that's not necessarily a good thing because we really need to be on the same page. So now, vestibular issues are more well known today than they were 16 years ago, but they still are not well known among doctors as other conditions like diabetes and cancer and that sort of thing. There are lots of doctors who still don't know much about it, and so it's not unusual for someone with a vestibular condition to see the doctor and be diagnosed with vestibular migraine. So that's the first condition we're going to talk about, vestibular migraine, and then also vestibular neuritis, vestibular hypofunction, and vestibular loss. So let's start with vestibular migraine. Here we go. Vestibular migraine is a type of migraine that can be with or without headache, and one of its characteristics is vertigo. You get dizziness, you get balance problems, so on and so forth, but it's a specific type of migraine. The second one is vestibular neuritis, and the suffix itis, rather, it stands for inflammation. And so vestibular neuritis is inflammation of the vestibular nerve, one or both, and it causes a loss of vestibular function. So again, balance issues, dizziness, that sort of thing. Next is vestibular hypofunction. Hypofunction is impaired function or a loss of function in one or both of the nerves, again creating vestibular symptoms. But it's not full loss, it's only partial loss. And then finally is vestibular loss, and that is full loss of function in one or both nerves. The interesting thing is with both vestibular hypofunction and vestibular loss, it can be on both sides of the head or just one side. So if it's just one side of the head, say it's the left side, then you have vestibular hypofunction or vestibular loss in the left side. If it's both sides, you have bilateral vestibular hypofunction or bilateral vestibular loss. My condition is bilateral vestibular loss. I've lost function in both sides, so it greatly impacts my ability to balance and so on and so forth. Something else to know is that vestibular migraine is acute and it's temporary. It's like any other migraine, it comes and goes. You might feel lousy today but feel great tomorrow. Vestibular neuritis is also acute and it's also temporary. Like any other kind of inflammation, vestibular inflammation can subside and normally does on its own. If you've been diagnosed with hypofunction or loss, both of these are permanent conditions. They are chronic conditions. Once the nerves are damaged and you lose function, it's highly unlikely you'll ever get function back. So if you're at 50% loss, you may stay at 50% loss the rest of your life, but to gain any more function back is not likely. If you have full loss, 100% in one or both sides of your head, the chances of you getting any function back are not all that good. All right, so those are the four conditions: vestibular migraine, vestibular neuritis, vestibular hypofunction, and vestibular loss. That'll do it for today. So we'll catch you next time. Until then, take care of yourselves.